Hey there! Well, it may be a little bit of a stretch to say that the knife on the table and the one you've been watching in my before and after restoration slideshow is a Boy Scout knife of the greatest generation. That is a knife that might have been used by a scout right before World War II, and then that scout went on to fight in World War II. Because this particular knife is 100 years old, and if not, then it's very, very close. This is the very first type of official Boy Scout of America knife made by the New York Knife Company under the Hammer brand. New York Knife Company out of Walden, New York, made the very first Boy Scout of America knife in 1911, just 1 year after the Boy Scouts of America were formed, and they had a monopoly on official Boy Scout of America knives until 1923. So during that time they used this banner shield that had the motto, "Be Prepared." And then in 1923, when they lost that monopoly and other companies started making official Boy Scout of America knives, New York Knife Company started changing over to an oval-shaped shield. So this particular knife dates from 1917 to approximately 1922 or to 1925, thereabouts. And it's identical to the very first knife issued from 1911, except that it has a smaller removable bail, whereas the very first one, made from 1911 through 1916, was noted for having a very large permanently attached bail. But this is the same knife that in 1985 Schrade Cutlery replicated for the limited edition model produced for the 75th Diamond Jubilee anniversary of the Boy Scouts of America. And I've featured that knife on this channel before. Here it is. And so it's an important enough knife that the Boy Scouts of America wanted to reproduce it for their 75th Diamond Jubilee anniversary. And I've talked about this knife and some of the differences between it and the original in that other video. If you'd like to go see that, I'll put the link in the description box below. But I do want to mention that now that I have the original knife, I'll no longer be keeping the replica, so I'll be selling this on my Etsy shop. It's a beautiful knife. It's absolutely in new condition, unused, mint. Comes in this box with the gold colored medallion and the papers. It's a great knife. Action on it's really good. It's just a really well made knife, so that'll be for sale in my Etsy shop. If you're interested, go take a look at it. They made 20,000 of those, and that one's serialized. It's number 8609. Okay, well, let's take a quick look at the knife, and I'll talk about some of the things I did to restore it while we look at it. But most importantly, on these original ones, you want to look for the banner shield with "Be Prepared." The real ones are going to say "Be Prepared," and it's going to be oriented that way, so it looks upside down. You know, a lot of scout knives out there, unofficial scout knives, have a banner shield, and they can say scouts, they can say all kinds of things. New York Knife Company even has one that says "Scouts Prepare." That's pretty much just like this. It's, I guess, kind of an unofficial version they made. But the official Boy Scout of America first knives are going to say "Be Prepared" in a banner shield like that. And it's set in a bovine bone brown handle with 3 exposed pins. The very first ones had a very large loop permanently attached bail. The second gen here had this smaller removable bail. They had nickel silver lined bolsters. They were 3 and 5 inches, 3 and 5/8 inches long rather in the closed position, not 3 3/4. They had a cutout here for the vertical pull on the one-piece old-style can opener. We'll look at that in a second. They had brass liners, but interestingly here the separator in the middle is carbon steel and rather thick. And then the main blade is a spear point blade, and it has a short nail nick, not a long nail pull like the replica has. And another difference is the tang stamp. The replica says New York Knife Company USA on the main blade, whereas on the original real ones, that tang stamp is on the screwdriver. And what you have on the main blade is the Hammer brand logo. And there it says Hammer, and you can see the head of the hammer between the 2 M's and Hammer. and then brand, and then underneath that's a little hard to see, but that's an arm and a hand holding a forging hammer. Now you noticed from the before and after slideshow how badly wounded this blade was. I would call it a chip, except it was more like a big melted spot. I think what happened is someone touched it to a live wire and had an arc, and melted a big chunk of the blade. I've seen that before. Hopefully whoever did that didn't get shocked to death. But I kind of struggled with what to do with that. It's too large to completely take out. Had I taken that completely out, the blade would be ridiculously thin. So I kind of compromised and I took it about halfway down. So I think it looks better, but obviously it's still there. And since I did that, I went ahead and sharpened the blade. The blade's been polished, as you can see. Polishing revealed some grinding marks from days past. Let me just say a quick word about restoration and my philosophy on it. I know a lot of people in the knife collecting community want their knives as found in the original condition. They don't want anything done to them, polished, even cleaned sometimes. I don't think that was possible with a knife like this. If you look at some of these pictures, look at the picture of what this knife looked like down inside. This knife was rotting and falling apart. And so, you obviously have to arrest and stop that corrosion. And I will restore a knife when, I think I'm returning it to a whole state, making it functional again, just making it, more pleasant to look at and hold, stopping aggressive corrosion that's damaging it, or, stabilizing loose or broken parts, scales, things like that. But first, do no harm, obviously. I know a lot of people like, the original antique patina, and I think that's fine when you've got a nice, fairly even patina without a whole bunch of, corrosion and dark spots and pitting and everything. But, I'll just say that I don't believe that this knife should have been left in the state it was found. And I'll pose this question: what is closer to the original state of a knife? Is it corroded, dirty, and broken? Or is it, not corroded, cleaned, and repaired? And what's more original? So that's kind of my philosophy. This knife has good action, got snap back to it. When I first got it, you really had to force open and close the one-piece can opener. Now it has snap, and I found a half stop. It's amazing how much snap you can get back to an old knife like this if you just clean the crap out of it, literally, and oil it. Now I'd love to show you, here's the screwdriver. And as I mentioned, the New York Knife Company stamp is actually on the screwdriver. And it's a short screwdriver with the cap lifter. And I was getting ready to say I'd love to show you the awl, but I don't know where it is. Obviously this knife has a broken tool, and maybe why I got it so cheaply. When you have a broken or missing tool, the value of your antique knife is going to be decreased by at least 50%. But I'll tell you that I got this knife on eBay. I won it on an auction and had it shipped to me for less than $25. I don't know what went wrong with that auction. The seller had a good description, he had good pictures, they knew it was rare. I don't know, maybe people were just, two things maybe. Maybe people that are really in the know about these already have one that's better, doubtful. Or maybe they just didn't know what they were looking at, or maybe some of the problems chased them away. But yeah, obviously the scale was coming loose back here. That's been fixed. And there were pieces missing, and that's been, whoops, wrong end. The scale was coming loose back here, and the scale was fixed. That's filled with two-part epoxy putty and then color matched. I'm kind of proud of that. It looks pretty good, I think. I showed this to my wife, and I said, which end did I repair? She looked at it for a second. She said, this one. So yeah, with a broken tool, a big wound in the blade, and scales, pieces missing and coming apart, that might have chased off a lot of people, but I was thrilled to death to get it. And I wouldn't sell it for less than $100 now if I would sell it at all in its given condition. So there is the very first type of Boy Scout of America knife. Official Boy Scout of America knife by the New York Knife Company under the Hammer brand out of Walden, New York. And here comes a slideshow to show you some old pictures of the New York Knife Company factory and employees and some of their advertising and things like that. I hope you enjoy it. Thanks for watching.